Clarity and magic doesn't often arrive fully formed. It is something that we weave into our lives day to day. And that's what we're going to talk about today is practical, magical tips and tools that you can use to weave clarity, insight, wisdom, and knowledge so your whole day feels magical, not just during the times where you cast spells or do big rituals, but in the moments in between, in the moments of your big daily lives that we all lead. So hello, I'm Tahverlee. I'm a high priestess, a practicing witch, and this is my passion. In fact, I live this life so deeply that I get asked often, like, what is a day in my life look like? In fact, I have a student recently that said she wanted to be a fly on the wall and see what I do all day. And that inspired me to really think through the ways that I weave magic into my day-to-day life. Because I do big rituals, I do big spells, I teach big rituals and big spells. And if you've joined me in mystery school, you know this to be true. And if you want to do that, you can check the link in the show notes and join Witch School or any of the programs I have going on right now. But I wanted to give you really clear, simple, practical ways that you can find and weave that thread of magic through any part of your life. Because the world is full of static. There's a lot of things that are coming at us, especially in 2025. I don't have to tell you that. And it's really easy to be pulled out of your magic and put into the human part of where things are messy and icky, where there isn't alignment, where magic seems so far away that it feels like it's a distant part of your life, and other people's words and echoes from the past and fears for the future take up all the air in the room. I know you felt that. I understand. I totally get it. But everyday practical spells, it becomes like a tuning fork for you to adjust your own energy, or even just check yourself and your energy and your magic throughout the day in a multitude of ways. And I'm going to give you 3 specific ways that you can build practical rituals and spells into your life that don't require you to set aside several hours or do it under a full moon, but instead are things that you can and should be doing every day. Now, it's also important to remember that grounding and working with our own energy is its own magic. It's its own thing that if you've been watching me and you've subscribed to this channel, and if you haven't, you should, then you know I talk a lot about daily energy management. It's so important. You have to know yourself, and I won't cover that here, but I want to say that the most important foundational pieces that you can do on your path to experience more magic, more alignment, more synchronicities, more manifesting, more creative energy is to know your energy and know how to change it and balance it when needed. So that's going to be a given for today. So this isn't going to be about elaborate rituals and spells. Those require more rare ingredients, more thought, more preparation. A really good spell is one that has a really long runway, meaning you've put a lot of time into the planning and you have clarity on what you desire, and you've done readings, whether it's with tarot or oracle or with your pendulum or just with your own channeling, that you have brought in. That was just an alert that went off on my phone, which was super interesting. So we shall continue on. I'll turn that off. That alignment, that feeling that we desire when we cast big spells is a longer runway. It takes time for us to put the pieces together to know what plants we're going to use, what colors we're going to use, what is the outcome, how are we going to measure the outcome, and how are we going to actually cast that spell. That is more time and more effort, and it's important. And by far, it is some of the most powerful workings that I do are the bigger ones, because I know and dedicate the time to build long runways to the spell. In fact, I would say that the majority of the most successful spells that I cast are the ones where the planning and the runway is super long and the spell takes that long to actually do the working. Because the spell is in motion the moment I begin planning it. Just like we're going to talk about the little motions and changes we'll make all day in this episode, the practical daily ways to increase your magic, that's like continually building that runway. That's taking what feels like mundane or difficult and making it all magical. So when the time comes for you to cast the spell, that runway is already put in place for you. It also helps to keep us out of the static of the craziness of the world. And that doesn't mean that we're not still going to feel it and we're not still going to have thoughts and emotions about it. It just means we turn the static down a little bit and we make small micro adjustments to our own magical field. So the space between the unseen worlds and the seen world or the tangible world we live in, that space between just collapses a little bit, or the wall between or the veil between collapses a little bit. So you're able to tune into those unseen worlds a little easier. And it is totally possible. And it includes making sure that you are keeping your receptivity of your senses alive. Because nothing turns the dial of your psychic gifts way down than heavy, dense, dark energy, which is chaos, fear, negativity, things that are that weigh heavy on you, that turns your psychic gifts down. And we can't avoid feeling those things because we are humans, but we can make these little micro adjustments along the way that allows us to continue to bring balance, because this is a dance, right? We dance between the seen and the unseen worlds. That's really how we weave more magic into our life. So the big grand gestures and the big grand spells that we do, yes, keep doing them. And start building in more small, micro, magical adjustments. Things like how you set yourself up for the day. Things like when you clean your home, you also do an energetic smoke cleansing and you set new intentions on your altars. Things like just sitting with a candle whenever you are doing any type of administrative work or stationary work, just adding a candle to it. It's how you stir the food that you're cooking at night that's feeding your family. If somebody in your family, a kid or a partner or a sibling or a parent, is experiencing something, that you infuse that food with the medicine that they need. That every time you fill your water bottle up, that you bless that water with whatever it is that you want to experience. Those are the types of micro adjustments that I'm talking about that start to weave things into your day, where then synchronicities will start increasing. I've noticed for myself over the last specifically week, because our coven, our internal Moon Temple Mystery School coven, cast a really big spell recently, and I felt a big shift in my field. And I do these micro adjustments daily anyway. But in the last couple of days, I felt synchronicities increase. It's almost like as I'm moving about the world, things are just shifting out of my way. Things are just shifting out of my way. And if it feels like something that I didn't want to shift out of my way, when I bless it and release it, then whoosh, another door immediately opens. And part of the chaos or static that I see happening in the world today is taking people away from their magic because they're feeling such dark, deep, fearful, and angry emotions for the state of our planet, for the state of our government, for the state of fighting that's happening in our world. Like, this is real. But every time that happens, they step a little bit away from their magic. So it's possible to hold and build these micro adjustments and weave wonder into your day and still be aware of what's happening. I'm not saying don't be aware, don't turn a blind eye from what you deem to be the truth of what's happening. I'm saying do that, but don't allow it to create more static inside your field. Okay. So let's talk about the three things that I'm going to give you today. And there are many. I actually made a big list and realized, well, that would be a very long podcast. And I also thought, well, I'll keep dropping these in. And so for those of you that subscribe to this channel and watch it often, I'll keep giving you more of this. But I want to give you three to focus on because I want you to become super clear on the idea that the bigger workings matter, and so does the little pieces that you do all day. Because the thing is you are already doing things all day that's creating what you're feeling. Yes, you. Not just the media, not just the government, not just the world. You are creating, by what you're doing all day long, the experience that you're having. And I know that that sounds a little bit wild. And for some people, you're going to say, no, I'm not. It's this person, it's this group, it's the left, it's the right, it's this color, it's this country, it's this thing. And yes, all of those things are true. And you are constantly choosing how that impacts you. So micro adjustments are needed. And the other thing to really, really remember is that we have muscle memory in our spiritual field. Just like we have muscle memory in the gym. If you know me, you know that I'm a weightlifter. I'm a former competitive weightlifter. I'm a former competitive athlete, and I still exercise regularly. And if I have a lot of things going on, like now when I'm in a book portal writing my third book, I spend less time exercising than I do writing because it requires a lot of energy. But it doesn't cause me stress because I know that next week or the week after, when I return to my full workout schedule, my body has memory. It has muscle memory, and it comes back fast. And that's why we need to build in more daily magical rituals so you start creating this muscle memory. That so when you get knocked off track or you get knocked out of your normal practice, that you can quickly pick it back up because you have the tools and the muscle, the spiritual muscle memory to sink back into your own weaved form of magic. Okay, so number one, enchant your morning routine always. And this isn't just about waking up and doing breath work or doing meditation. I mean, do enchantments. So your mirror, your makeup, your hair products, your clothes, enchant them. Clear them with smoke once a week. Set your intentions for that week or for that day. Either anoint them onto your clothes. You can use your finger, right, with a breath of fire and create it on your clothes. You can put makeup on or do your hair in a way that is completely enchanting. Because when you're focusing on enchantment, when you are preparing for the day, then you are creating that energy around you. That sets the entire tone. Now, you can set an intention in the morning and meditate and do breath work as well. This is not one or the other. But sometimes people struggle to hold that routine because, 3 weeks later they've been up late and they, snooze through their alarm, and then they fall off the meditation wagon and they forget to do it, and then the habit's gone. Whereas we actually do things every day to get ourselves ready for the day. I'm saying build magic into whatever that routine is like for you. If you don't put hair and makeup on, great. When you brush your teeth, whatever it might be for you. Consider your clothes, your makeup, your hair, how you wash your face, how you brush your teeth, all the things that you do in the morning before you start your day, make it magical. And if you want more information on exactly how to do those spells, that you can join Witch School. The link will be in the show notes and I will teach you more there. Number 2. Take the last big working or the next big working that you do that's a spell or a ritual and make a secondary piece to it. So if you're doing it on an altar or doing candle magic or any tactile magic, make something small addition to the bigger piece that is a talisman of what you've done, and then carry it or wear it. You could put it in your pocket, If it's a little satchel that you've sewn together, you can tuck it into your undergarments. You can, if you put a sigil with the working, you can actually, and I do this often, you can write the sigil on your body underneath your clothes in any type of makeup or even a permanent marker if you desire. So create an extension of the big spells you have on the go and put it on your body. This will constantly remind you of your purpose. Like, what are you doing? What is the ultimate outcome of the bigger working that you have in place? And how can you just tap into that energy in little spurts throughout the day? And number 3, do little bits of magic between all transitional times of your day. Such as when you are stopping work for your lunch break, however that is, whether it's at home or in an office, when you're taking a lunch break, honor that as a liminal space. Do a little magical working. It could be 5 or 10 minutes. It could be an incantation. It could be, if possible, a little candle, a little focus on the flame. It could be burning a little bit of incense. It could be using an essential oil. It could be you just doing a very quick breath work and visualization, or it could be just clearing, like literally clearing all the energy from the morning. Then have your lunch break. And then right before you return back into your work day after your lunch break, set a very clear intention of what the rest of the day will be like. And then when your work day comes to a close, honor that transition from the end of your work day into your home life. And then honor the transition between the end of dinner in the evening and before you go to bed. These transitional spaces are super important because I promise you, you will weave more awareness of how magical you are and be less weighed down by everything that just happened in the last few hours. Because things go sideways in a few hours of a day. It's like a reset button. So every time you transition from one thing to another, use a small dose of magic to reset, release, and create. And you can do this in 7 to 10 minutes every single time. Whether you do it just in your car, whether you do it outside of your home, outside of your work building, in a park, at the edge of a grocery store parking lot, it does not matter. So enchant your mornings. Carry a talisman of bigger ritual workings you have so your body is holding onto other spells, and you can do that hidden. Nobody has to know about it. Nobody can see it. It's just between you and your spell. And then number 3, enchant and make magical every transitional period you have in the day. And that's just the beginning. There's a multitude of ways that you can weave magic into your life, such as the intentions you give your water that I mentioned earlier, such as every time that you get up to move, that you do a connection with a certain part of your body. If you're like me and you have a lot of meetings, keep note paper nearby and put sigils on the top of your notes. If you work on camera, like I do often, create an enchantment around your computer. Use stones. These are all just ways in which you can make these micro adjustments to stay in the frequency of magic. This is how we see change daily. This is how we see that runway that we create for bigger workings start to get smaller because we don't have so much gunk to clear because we're dumping it and resetting constantly. And when you do this, it's like you are casting mini spells of your power out into the world continually throughout the day. It's just hit after hit after hit outward. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what magic feels like. It doesn't matter what's happening in the chaotic, static world. I'm still going to hold my magic, and here's how it feels, and I'm pushing that out into all parts of my life. I promise you, you will start to see some tremendous change if you do that. All right, make sure you subscribe. Check the link in the show notes for which power, which school, and all the things of what's coming up, because there is a Holy Darkness class coming soon too, which is going to be so amazing. You'll find all of that in the show notes, and I'll see you again soon.